the business model of journalism is inherently failed. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm going to say something really horrible, but I think it's important. I've worked for many publications. Every publication I have worked for, except the one I'm currently employed by, touch wood, has closed, or they have pivoted to a model where they don't pay their writers.
Real people, real stories, and real challenges that break the status quo. I'm your host, Živile, and welcome to Perception Paradox. Hi everyone! Today we kick off with this series, which were recorded at Slush 2025, one of the largest, or I would say the largest, tech conference focused on founders in Europe. And our first episode is all about media. It was also recorded behind the scenes in the media lounge during the conference, where I decided to pull aside two sharp voices in the tech journalism, Cate and Andrii Degeler, to have a conversation that is necessary for a reality check. So we do unpack the recent layoffs that happened in the media landscape, the structural chaos, and the zero bandwidth that's reshaping the tech news. So if you've ever pitched a journalist, or you're about to do that, or you just want to learn how to do that, I think this is what you need to hear. So let's dive in.
Yeah, it's been what?
It's now what? 4:20? So how was your day, Andrii?
Where is my day?
Where is your day? Where is my day?
It's not there.
All right. So I guess let me give me a quick intro. So
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome to Perception Paradox. And I think today we're having a very special episode recorded at Slush, one of the podcast media booths. And I have with me a good friend of mine, Andrii, and we will have another good friend of ours, Cate, joining us for a conversation overall about media, what's happening in 2025 and what do we foresee for 2026 and upcoming years of the whole media landscape. And I think it's also interesting to touch base, how does a day as a media look like? Because there are so many misconceptions. Let's say that some people are chasing stories and that media just trying to, I don't know, write the stories and doing nothing. But we've just sit down here and we're like, where did the day go? It's gone. And it's been, it's already evening and I feel like I've just woke up, even though I woke up at 6:30. How are you, Andrii? Welcome.
I'm good. Thank you so much. Very happy to be here. Thanks a lot for the invitation.
Thank you for accepting.
Always a pleasure to talk to you. And yeah, the day is really flown by. It's nowhere to be found anymore.
Yeah.
How was your day, Živile?
The same.
What did you do?
Well, today, you want to hear the full story?
Sure.
I woke up 6:30. I went to yoga
Wow.
at 7 a.m. to kick off my day. I just really needed that. It's a hot yoga, and I'm a big fan of hot yoga studios. You know, when you're in a cold country, you need the hot yoga. Sorry, that's how it started. You asked. And then I started with my morning event with Back to Sea breakfast. Because we are running today. As always, legendary party. So I just went there to get out of my bubble, to meet new people. And then that's it. I arrived to media lounge after 10 a bit.
And never left.
And never left. The moment I came here, it was an organized chaos, figuring out how does it work with the booth? Where is my first guest? Okay, am I prepared? So, and when the moment I hit record here on the first conversation, I think I've never left the booths or the lounge.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great to make it breathe, but I did not expect that it will end up in such a fruitful day when it comes to content and conversation. So I'm very grateful. How was it for you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I feel like I've just been holed up in this media area for pretty much like 90% of the day. I have had another video set up down there, did my own interviews, but yeah, this is pretty much how you spend conferences as a media person, and I think everybody else is here as well, exactly the same. It's a pretty big space here, so like you can see here at any given time, probably like 20, 30, 50 journalists, and they're all just constantly doing interviews,
literally,
or sitting on their laptops and writing. So it's
you know. So since I'm not coming from a journalistic background. I've been involved more in marketing commercial, but I've never, let's say, embraced it also as a studying. And I'm more like a creator, I would call myself. I find it always fascinating because now it's only my second year coming to the conferences as a media, which was a completely different experience from before. What keeps me fascinated, let's say the written form journalists, how we literally like write down, record the voiceover. I don't know why, but for me, it just like a scene from the movie. Really?
So you're still romanticizing the profession.
No, I do. It's like so beautiful. I don't know.
No, I mean it is great, especially when you know how much work goes into every piece that comes out in these publications. Yeah, it's.
And it's usually not seen. So how do you prepare for the conference, for example? Because and let me go back. And you also today forgot to mention you launched Deal Room report.
Yes, there was a report. We didn't launch it. We did a preview today. It was a preview of the Deep Tech report. It is indeed a teaser. The full report will come out in March, I believe. So this is the plan at least. So it is about deep tech, state of deep tech in Europe.
Oh, that's interesting.
And but there will be also another report launched tomorrow, which is about spin-outs in Europe. So there is always a lot of data.
There's always a report
to present. No, I mean seriously. So I work for Deal Room most of my time as a journalist in residence, and yes, there is always a report to be presented almost every week.
Wow. So how do you see the demand for reporting is right now?
It's just that we have the data, so it's a great way to showcase it, and there are so many different places, so many different verticals, so many different angles for all these things to be looked at. So I do understand why the data team basically keeps so busy with trying to put it in a way that's accessible and understandable for the wider public.
Yeah.
And of course, again, the platform itself, Deal Room is like a SaaS product, so the platform itself is paid for. Like there's a free version, but it's rather limited. But at the same time, all the reports, they are available for everyone for free. So it's also a way to give everyone access to this data in the field that's most interesting for them.
Do you see any trends that are up and coming for next year when it comes to startup scene from the data so far?
I mean, there was also the big report from Atomico today, right? State of European Tech. And I think in general, it's rather optimistic. So it's definitely, so I think I only saw the top line numbers, but the ecosystem in general is growing. And also from our deep tech report preview, we can see that the deep tech ecosystem actually is also growing, and it did not go down after 2021 as much as the rest of VC funding did. So that is something that gives me some optimism looking at the ecosystem. So like as a journalist in residence, I do write a bunch about all this data, again trying to explain it, trying to analyze, trying to contextualize, trying to bring it to people in a form that is more digestible and more easy to understand for everyone, even those people who are not necessarily working in these exact fields. But yeah, no, I'm rather optimistic at this point. Are you?
I think so. It's all about at the end of the day, humanity, and I still think that with the big philosophy, human-centric technology, and now the capital available, we have a lot of capital available. We can do a lot of things.
Early stage, yes, we do.
We can get to early stage as well. It's true. But I think I'm rather optimistic than pessimistic. Obviously, the situation in Europe is not the best and the world, but we're doing what we can. But talking about conferences and your preparation as a media, where do you begin preparing for the event? How do you choose whom to cover, for example?
Yeah, that really depends on the event. But I would say that in general, I would first always look at the list of speakers. So this is like the first stop.
Yeah.
To see whether there are people whom I already would like to interview for something that I am working on already. Because I mean, for most journalists, myself included, you always have at least one piece that you are actively working on and a few pieces that are sort of in the pipeline that you need to start working on the moment you finish this one, because the deadline is already looming, always. And so you're always on the lookout for some good interview candidates for them, even though you probably already have a few lined up if you are organized enough, which I'm not, but generally, so this is the first stop, and then of course there is always some inbound. Like you will always get some requests from PR people, from founders themselves interested in talking. So the mix of that is usually where it is at, and then it's just the question of scheduling and prioritization and trying to make sure that you get everywhere where you want to get during the event. Which is a rare occasion.
Well, as you know, I did try yesterday to get everywhere.
I think you succeeded, didn't you?
I didn't go to the last 2 events I wanted to. I just gave up after the dinner. I was like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. So I nearly succeeded. If that was a strategic and smart choice, I'm not sure. If I met some great people, I am sure. And really had good conversations and catch-ups. But yeah, I think I've got again a reminder you cannot be everywhere at the same time, and you just less is more.
It is true, but also usually during the conference day, you're mostly busy actually like talking to, like interviewing people. So you're mostly busy with scheduled interactions. So it's really nice to have some time for unscheduled and more serendipitous interactions, which is usually something that happens more after the stage programming is over and you go to side events.
Totally. I think you're really on spot with that, because I would be busy when I would come to the conference, let's say as a speaker or as on behalf of some organization. But when I started coming more as a media podcaster, well, I haven't thought that you can be so busy. To be honest, it's like gets so scheduled and so full. If you come with an intention to actually create content, to interview, to meet people and produce, which is my intention for sure coming to the conferences right now. So, but I'm enjoying it. So that's fun.
That's really important, because generally, like at the end of the day, the conference is just a place where you can interact in person with a whole bunch of people whom you would normally have like a video call with for a story that you're working on. So like if you want to use it as much as you can, then you really need to just have a schedule and just keep talking for the entire day.
Yeah, I mean,
until your throat gives up.
but totally. I just heard some sound that, so I was like, I think this mic is on, no? I don't know. Anyway, no, it's fine, okay. It was just some radio. I heard some radio sound. I was like, oh, what is happening?
Interesting.
Who is spying? Okay, so.
You can do some music.
100%. So, talking about the media landscape, right? I've been bothering you with my questions a lot in the last half a year. We would meet into the events and I would be like, so what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the changing landscape? Dependent media, independent media, where are we heading to? Whom do we trust? So what's happening right now?
Oof, so many things are happening. I mean, I've been talking about it way too much for someone who is not even a full-time journalist. I really hope that I can still offer my unsolicited opinions on that.
I'm pretty sure you can. We need different opinions.
Okay, so we are recording this in November 2025.
Ooh, that's where the journalistic background comes in.
And this year so far has been not great, obviously, for European tech media, as we have all seen. So last year, the publication I worked for and ran the Next Web was so first it started to sort of the layoffs began, and then this year the entire publication together with most of the company was actually shut down. Also, TechCrunch Europe decided to lay off the entirety of its in-house reporters, leaving only one freelancer basically to cover the entire continent. We saw the layoffs in Business Insider, we saw the layoffs in CNBC, I believe in Fortune. So basically, across the board, a whole bunch of people working on technology journalism have lost their jobs. So, which means that there are much fewer people left to cover what could be the most important industry at this point for the entirety of the humanity and the world. So that's not a great development, I suppose. And I think we have Cate joining us. Just on time.
Cate, welcome to the.
Come over. Let's try to squeeze.
Hey!
How was your
Great.
How was your
You want to give me
meeting?
your backpack? Yeah. How was your meeting?
Oh, wait, you want to hear?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Got some gossip, but
Ah.
not one to be shared with an audience online.
All right. We cannot mute right now.
How is everybody, Slush?
Slushing.
Yeah, it's not that slushy though. So I'm kind of
It's just cold.
Not yet.
I wore my boots because I was like, my likelihood of falling on my ass as an Australian in the snow is quite high, but it's actually no snow. So
Love it. No,
Would you like some?
no, I'm okay.
I did see in the forecast that the snow should come.
Apparently it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I hope
okay.
so.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Last year it was snowing in the evening
Well,
Thursday.
if it will
And
get
it
less
was really
cold,
cute.
then I'm okay with
We're
it.
not gonna get less cold. You need just to go to sauna. You're making bad choices.
I don't have I live in an Airbnb. We don't have a sauna.
But it's always Alice pool or something.
I've lived in Germany too long. I forgot you have to bring swimwear. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Because Germany, you're not allowed to wear swimwear.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can wear like 4 towels, but it doesn't, no.
Yeah, the Netherlands is similar to
Very
that.
strict
Yeah.
on the swimwear.
I mean, in the Netherlands we actually have special days like the sauna, so have special days with swimwear.
They will
usually once a week.
They will yell at you.
I thought that Finnish are open and you don't need swimwears unless it's a very public sauna, no?
Mm-hmm.
You need.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Huh. I don't know
everything I've seen has said you have to wear textiles.
All right.
All right. So, sorry then for no sauna. Do you need to take this?
No.
Is it a juicy gossip?
Spam call from Amazon shipping service.
What? You keep getting those ones?
Don't know. Never had one before.
Well, we could have picked up. I mean,
have a great live podcast experience. Yeah.
That's kind of relates also to media, fake news, fake
Poor
calls.
person in their call center job before they get automated by AI.
Oh my God! So Cate, we've just started with Andrii and covered about our first day at Slush. So how was it for you? Because we've realized that apparently we remember 2 points of the day when we woke up, and now that it's 4:30.
Jesus, huh? It's been good. I went to an event this morning, which was kind of security defense. Thought, great bunch of people, but it was just networking. It was kind of like standing around talking.
Yeah.
Like,
Is that something you don't like?
yeah, but lots of tall people, lots of crowd. I was like, yeah. I was wanting to get some information. I was more in a mood because it takes me a while to kind of kick off in the morning. I'm not like a morning person. So I was there to just consume silently by sitting and listening and nodding rather than having to make conversation at like 9 a.m. Because that's just like a pain. It's like, to do the spiel, where are you from? How have you been? It's like... And I was I just want to hear about your company. I'll just sit here. And it's just like, that didn't happen so much. No fault of the organisers. It was a very nice event.
Okay.
But and then came here and just hanging out, and I've been interviewing lots of startups and just talking to PRs and stuff, because like I say, for a lot of people that don't know, like when we come to these places as journalists, this is our workplace as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an extension. So we get to see all the people that we see at conferences. Often the same people. So it's this kind of fun relationship that you don't get. I think it's different when you work remotely. So, for example, I see my team once a year, maybe twice.
Oh,
yeah.
So coming here is great because I get to see all these people regularly. It's kind of nice. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's an underrated aspect of the physical kind of work that we do by going to events. People often say, "Oh, events are so tiring. Oh, it's this thing," but it's fun as well. A lot of fun.
For sure.
So this is the optimism we need.
Yeah. But Cate is getting a good point. So I'm staying with a good friend of mine, an investor, Gabi, and we were discussing that it's so fulfilling to stay together in a shared place, because we do a lot of work independently and alone, isolated, like from due diligence and from investment side to creating content, writing, researching. It's such an individualistic work at the end of the day. So being together, sharing the juices of the day and the highlight, it's just such big difference.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, something like journalism, like that people think of journalism, they still think to me, like people still say to me, this idea of these newsrooms. The idea that you have this shared workplace where you all go and you have all these meetings and you do all this, whiteboard sort of stuff with stories, and we don't do any of that. We do a 20-minute call once a week sort of thing.
It's much less glamorous.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's at home or maybe in a shared co-working space or something like that, or on the road, in a hotel or in a car or something, so it's very different on what people think of journalism. We are a lot more agile. We are a lot more portable and compact and kind of, very different to what the days of old.
Andrii was laughing from me just before you joined us, but I'm literally, I told him how my experience joining as a media with my podcast was different from previous conference experiences, and how I admire all the journalists writing down and recording conversations. As he was like, you're just still romanticizing it.
See, the problem is, like, we've done the wrong thing. We should have done just podcasts, because the problem with with us versus you is you do the interview and you're done. We do the recording, then we've got to write it up. So
I still have to do production. Come on.
And sometimes we have a backlog. Like people, people always email when they go, "Where is it?" And it's like, it's coming. It's like, sometimes like I had one I publish. It's publishing on Friday. It's pre-scheduled, so it is done. And it was an event I went to in April. I just hadn't had time to write it up, It wasn't evergreen. It was like more evergreen, perhaps. Yeah. It was more kind of analytical than, timely. So, people will always harangue us journalists. Where is it? I was I went on stage at the Investor Day yesterday, just doing some moderating, and they're all sitting in the audience. I thought, oh, shit, how many of these people do I owe an article? And I said, it's coming, I promise.
Writing down, this one goes up, this one goes...
So it's like I know on Monday it's going to be, so that interview, when's it coming out? It's going to be like 10 people emailing me.
So you interview, so how long does it take for you to process all information you gathered about... Depends, right?
It's just timetabling, literally. Yeah. Like, I try and put out maybe 3 to 4 features a week on average.
Wow.
I may interview 2 or 3 people a day.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's just, I do say to them, it might not come out straight away. Yeah. If it's something tied to something that's more breaking news, maybe it's, illegal funding or something, then I'll try and get it out early on time, of course. But it's just, we're not machines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that some stories, I think, also tend to be, it's just like unfortunate, Like there is always, you have this story that you really want even to finish, but then there is always something that is more urgent, something that's more present. And you just postpone this one and postpone this one, and then you realize, okay, it's been half a year.
Oh, completely. Oh,
but
my God.
I have this with the podcast as well. If I don't want to push it 2-3 times a week, sometimes I don't have the capacity. Yeah. So it just lines up and you're like, oh my God, so what should I do? Should I now... increase the frequency or...
And sometimes, I have a couple from last year.
Oh. Well, we still have 1 month to end the year.
Two. But they're kind of, one is a big one. So I'm doing a thing in between sort of both bi-directional scale of India and Europe. So I interviewed all these people, but it's such a big story. And it's like, when I think about how many interviews I have to coordinate, put together, and my brain hurts.
I'm sorry, it hurts while listening. So
yeah, right. But maybe next year.
New Year's resolution.
All right, talking about New Year's resolution, I would like to touch base, Andrii, Cate, what would be the most common misconceptions currently we get from you as a media, from journalists? What do founders get wrong, or investors when because I see it's a lot about expectations, right? And very misaligned maybe roles.
For me, I think the top one is that their story is the most important story of the day.
Okay.
Therefore, they can send it at like 8:59 and expect it to go live when the embargo lifts at 9:01.
Not possible?
Well, I mean, I get about, it varies day to day, but roughly, 100, 150 emails a day. Pitching stuff all day. Like, it doesn't stop all day.
I'm already get tired from my 10 pitches a day.
Yeah, I try and do a few an hour, like to go through the emails because I can't because they go all day. Like if you think you finish, they keep going. So yeah, look, it's really just stuff like they're not the most important. They're probably awesome, but we just need a bit of time. Time, like if they respect what we do, we need time. You need to give us notice for things. You need to think about. I know these very busy people and I want something from them. What can I do to make that a little bit easier? And sometimes it's very simple things like giving us some notice in advance, maybe tell us a few days in advance, give us the press release in advance, give us what we want. We need images. We need the link to the company because often they will have very similar names or the same names. Just things like that. We're all in this together. We work in this sector because we want startups to succeed. We're enthusiastic about tech and we're not here to kind of, if we're not covering you, it's not because of a negative reason necessarily. It's really just bandwidth. That's probably the bandwidth one. Because I get a lot of people emailing me lately. I think I've had 3 or 4 in the last month going, oh, I wanted some feedback on why you didn't cover my story.
Oh.
And it's often just, I didn't have time. I just didn't have time,
Fair enough. Crazy.
Yeah.
Do you?
I know. I would say that like misconception is, I would mostly probably talk about the misunderstanding of the function of media per se. And I mean, we can all be more or less like enthusiastic and optimistic and generally happy with the way technology has been developing, for example, and about the European ecosystem. But at the same time, it has to be remembered that for a journalist does not work for the companies they cover. They work for the audience. So and this like the interest of the audience is what comes first when coverage decisions are made, when critical questions are asked, and so on and so forth. So, and it's just like very often people get, I think, very much into their own bubble where everyone is very supportive and everyone just sort of roots for always like for the company, always for the founder, always for the more like a business side of things, but not for like more like a good of the realm as they would say in the Game of Thrones. So it's
Yeah, it's like this, as we call it in Australia, this jingoism, where particularly if you are critical about Europe, you will know there will be this avalanche of people implying you're anti-European, when you're often just like, well, no, I'm actually looking at it more critically because that's my job.
Anti-European. Talking about anti-European, so Andrii already mentioned a bit of the changes this year. We faced in a media landscape some layoffs, some publications closing down. Why did that happen in your opinion? And what's gonna happen right now in European media world? Because I don't know, do you see someone frontiering covering all the news, or how do you see it shaping?
I mean, the first thing I would say is there's not a shortage of stories. This is not why we close. There is enough stories for every publication and probably 10 more. This is a very large sector. Whether you have a niche, and we've seen an evolution of more niche publications, things like defense tech, for example, or regional, maybe underrepresented regions are opening their own publications or spinning out from another service, like something, someone's already got an existing, maybe some kind of startup incubator or something, then they've decided to go media. It's more of those sorts of things. I think there's enough people to read them. How you market to those people is the problem, and this gets back to the why the fail. I think partly it's all, I'd probably say all financial. The business model of journalism is inherently failed. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, I'm going to say something really horrible, but I think it's important. I've worked for many publications. Every publication I have worked for, except the one I'm currently employed by, touch wood, has closed, or they have pivoted to a model where they don't pay their writers. So they go from journalists to the freemium model where they get contributors, which are, your PR spin, your opinion thought leaders who are just, saying what they want you to hear. So how do you monetize that? Like, people don't want to pay for media. So you need either people to fund the journalism from a structural perspective, like the VC type side of it. But then you get to a situation like TechCrunch, where you have the PE side, where a firm that owns you sells to someone else and then they cull. because they change their priorities. So what is the solution, And it's got to get to a point, I believe, if it doesn't change, where because there's so much work for all of us and so many companies that want coverage, I literally get people that email me now and say things like, I literally have nowhere to place this. We have tried everyone and it's not the story's bad. No one's had time to actually sit down and go through it and give it the nurturing and the kind of development it deserves. And that's really frustrating as a journalist.
I can imagine.
On the flip side, I have actually heard recently from a couple of PR people that often they nowadays get requests not necessarily for the story to be covered by media, but more to go viral on LinkedIn.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So that's some sort of like a very twisted, wretched substitute for traditional media is now LinkedIn.
Yeah, I actually heard from a VC PR recently that because they have a very large portfolio, if they can't get traction in traditional media, they will contact all the podcasters and send them the news. Sorry, people are trying different methods. And I think it's great. I think we need lots of different ways that people can get information.
Yeah.
And, and to be very clear when I talk about the financial model being flawed, I don't believe everything should be paywalled because no one is going to be able to get information that's actually not, I want to searchable, discoverable. If it's all in a paywall, how do you discover it? Particularly if you're just an average person and you don't have the wherewithal to subscribe to 10 Substacks, right? Or publications, right? It's already hard. So,
Do you think people are willing to pay more for Substack writers than publications that are gated?
I don't know.
Not necessarily. It's like, I think it's when you look at it, like in the grand scheme of things, it's not gonna last. That's and also there are only, as Cate just said, there are only that many Substacks one person can subscribe to.
Oh yeah,
and it doesn't have to be Substacks. It's like whatever sort of niche publication newsletter you're getting. It's like $10 here, $5 there, and that at some point it does add up, and you do 100%. And you do sort of also take a long, close look at the list of your subscriptions and just start to uncheck those checkboxes.
And you're vulnerable ultimately to that kind of notion of like cost of living crisis. When people are struggling financially, the first thing they're going to look for is subscriptions, right?
Oh yeah.
So if you've got a subscription where your whole business model is just writing a newsletter, and I don't mean to mean that in any negative way because people put a lot of work into these newsletters, up to the optimal research, a lot of them. You're vulnerable. If you don't have other ways of making money that besides a newsletter, that's tricky.
But I think every distribution is the key, isn't it? You don't put all the eggs in one basket. 100%. There is this wisdom saying.
Yeah, it's the case for all of us. Maybe startups as well. Never rely on one investor, for example.
Yeah,
same idea,
or one client, but one biggest client. I saw so many startups break down because they relied on one major client.
So true.
So I think that's a good learning for all the industries.
But then you say we kind of talked about the like layoffs and the negative part. But then again, like we have seen new publications being founded, right? So Cate mentioned the defense part of the resilience media, for example, was founded. Pathfounders that Mike started just recently. So and there must be more Impact Loop, which Sean Gashant, my former colleague, is doing now. So there's a bunch, but yes, there are mainly niche. Pathfounders less, the rest more. So maybe that's how the future will pan out.
I don't think there'll be one way. I think it will just be this whole, diversity of different things.
Yeah,
and people will dip in and out. Because remember it was a thing for a while that it was like, your savior as a tech company or a tech media company was that you should have a newsletter and you should have a podcast and you should do it something and something and something. And as the teams get smaller, it wasn't viable. So, I think there's always going to be a space for experimenting and changing and evolving. And maybe AI will be able to facilitate some of that. And we've seen this, turning text into audio, for example, things like that, or video. There's always this scope for experimentation. All you need is a company that will support that, and you're in a good place.
Yeah. So where do you see podcasting falling right now in the latest landscape of media and communication? Because we've been last year, it was not that many podcasters, for example, on site, right?
It's just more crowded than it's ever been.
It was like, whoa, which is great to see different content, different creators. But yeah, I've never seen such a market becoming so crowded.
I think it shifts the way people consume. I mean, I know, for example, as I go to lots of events, I rarely have time to sit and watch all the talks, right? So I would listen to them, like say the YouTube channels or what have you, while I'm doing something else. I think podcasts are the same. It's a different way of consuming media and getting knowledge. It's not like the days of just reading, are over, and have probably always been over, right? Because people are looking for different ways to get information. I think particularly as people have got busier and spend less time, sitting, and maybe the attention span thing as well, which you probably talk about on your podcast a bit.
I've just had a conversation and I've got reminded that our attention span is like a golden fish nowadays. Even shorter, like
bloody social media.
Yeah, but someone told me the other day as well, I already mentioned in my previous conversation with Alan Davidson, so that some film producers are redefining the way they write the narratives for films and their scripts, making it way more easier to consume, so the dumb scrollers that people could follow while scrolling.
Yeah.
God, I was like, what? Sweet.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah,
So that's why the movies are... That's why there are so many bad movies. I'm sorry.
I mean, not gonna lie, I do listen to some true crime podcasts while I'm working sometimes. And it's kind of like, sometimes you have to, who killed who? Because particularly if they have similar names.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people do it. I mean,
I do that too. So.
It's also the thing about, I think it's so interesting, like even these little shifts of like the tech is enabled, like the other one I thought was super interesting was subtitles. The fact that people want subtitles when they watch things because they're doing something else. They're sort of a bit distracted. So they just sort of read along. Like I noticed, I really noticed it, like, for example, in Germany, if I go to the theatre, to the kino, if I go to the non-international theatre, where it's like the German theatres that have a few movies in English with in German with English subtitles, the Germans speak all the way through because they can just read the subtitles. Because they can speak both. Like, they understand both languages.
You're kidding me.
It's such a different shift.
That's wild. I'm sorry.
I haven't been to the cinema in a long time.
That loses the main point.
I was a bit... I asked a few people, I was a bit like, is it me? Like, they're always talking. They're like, no, it's just that shift because of the reading and the...
I've just been to a movie. Thanks God nobody was speaking. But it was a film festival, so maybe that's why. Yeah, that was a great creative movie. But...
And, it's like, what is the etiquette? Do you go, shut the fuck up?
Oh, yeah.
You? Like, do you stand up?
Yeah, I mean, come on, you came for a movie.
But then everyone is doing it around you. Then I think it's a bit harder to, like, maybe you're doing something wrong,
It's also because, theatres these days are staffed by some little teenager. They're not going to come and crack the whip, you know what I mean?
God.
So it's kind of interesting, yeah. So I think it all comes down to this attention thing, and it's a focus thing, right?
100%.
As much of attention. It's how we focus and how our brains are able to do this multifaceted, simultaneous kind of thing, which is super weird, right?
But I mean, for you, it's still writing, though, right? So most of your output is still writing.
100%. Yeah, I like writing. I enjoy it.
And you, Andrii, moved a lot into podcasting as well, right?
I do a lot of video these days because I really, really like it. And I usually joke that if we are all getting replaced by AI, then maybe video will have a little bit more sort of like a runway time. It's going to take a little bit longer before AI can generate all the videos.
Do you do video as well with your work?
Yes, I do. But so my big dream would be Destination Podcast, right? But then I realized if I would go straight to my big dream, I will never start. So I started doing step by step by taking into consideration some wise advices. You just have to start, and I do videos. So sometimes,
Yeah. Is there a push away from the dreadful term, the talking heads? Like, the difference between, like I said, I will listen to a presentation because it may not have slides because I'm doing other stuff. Like, are people wanting more visuals as well?
Yeah, we want more high quality visuals, and definitely all the videos I create, I don't know if it's the same for you, with a more higher quality usually has more traction. However, not necessarily. There was some videos where just the person I was talking with, so interesting, right? It was online. people, he gained views, he gained traction. I think the most important is still the sound.
Yeah.
And then comes the visual. Even it's a bit like, so even I was testing some domestic videos and interviews some of them work better than high quality. So I think it depends, and I find it difficult to figure out the distribution in the noise. And I find that YouTube right now is the best for distribution in comparison to other channels that uplifts the older creators rather than the new ones. YouTube, I think, eliminated recently the filters. Right. So it's more about how do you actually reflect of what's important for the audience.
What do you mean filters?
Blocking who has how many followers from before and uplifting the key content creators. That's what the Spotify, for example.
So incentivizing
the top creators already. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
But with YouTube, it's started doing the opposite. So it's you can be listed by the key content performance if you manage to match the audience needs. Which is great. I think that we need more like that to support.
It gives you more of a fighting chance, right?
Yeah, you get more fair card than to play.
Yeah, but
I don't know if that's the same for you with the video.
I mean,
content.
Generally, video, to me, it seems like it's much harder to like get traction with video. Yeah. As like if you look at most, like especially newer channels, but also older channels, like they don't get a whole lot of views. Like in tech, for example, it's really hard, and it takes much longer. But I guess, and I'm not sure if this is true, but I think so, that what the audience that you get is actually stickier. It's just like whatever you manage to gain in terms of audience is more likely to stay with you longer term.
Funny enough, all my videos that went really like with good traction, few thousand views, were all about AI. Surprise, surprise!
The uncomfortable truth. What people want.
The reality.
So what do you think about publications like E110? Those kind of videos where they're kind of the video
doing the streaming. I haven't I reached out to them to have a conversation because I'm very curious about their philosophy and the streaming and also the tractions as well, because I think they're doing this more the streaming part. No,
I'm not sure if they're here.
They're here.
They're here.
I will interview them.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. So I'm very curious to hear. So I don't know. I don't think that I have a strong opinion. I just see many different podcasts approaching, and for me, the biggest question is: okay, so how do we find our space in this crowded market? What is our USP? So obviously, it's always very interesting to see different methods, which is for them it seems like long form format streaming. And how do we what is their vision, what do they sell, because at the end of the day it is a sales channel at the end. I mean, if you want to grow it as a business, right? And so I don't have strong opinion. I think it's great that new things are approaching,
definitely,
and I need to check more of the content.
Only one question: who on earth got 3 hours every day to watch?
But it's a lot,
live streams?
100%, I agree. And I mean, but people do. I mean, there's always been these long form, and people like them, like particularly those very long-term stories like history and stuff like that. I love that shit. You know,
it's always, I guess, what resonates for you and what topics. So not everything will, like, come on, we had put streamings, the Twitch streaming platform, right? People would,
exactly.
So there are different audiences, different needs. So that's when we're seeing so many podcasts approaching, which is great. The question is, like, if we're tackling the same problems, who's gonna take the lead in the market, and who's gonna pivot, and who's gonna stay the same track, and so on. It's like,
I think the thing I've noticed too with some of those live stream YouTube type things is, whether it's YouTube or another platform, obviously, you also have the chat happening at the same time. Where the people can, so it's this participatory kind of thing where either sometimes they're engaging with the participants or the listeners, the watchers, whatever, are doing it to themselves. And to me, that's the most interesting aspect, is that it's almost like community building. I think that's maybe what the traditional media has got away from, because we're so like, you know, I think there was a period of time where we were so spammed, we still do, with comments or the kind of hate comments. Someone's very extreme, that a lot of the platforms just stopped taking comments because it took so much time to review them and to, you know, what's your policy, blah, blah, blah. That you don't get that you get with some other forms of media.
It's a very valid point. So maybe perhaps that's answering to your question, the different approach towards the community engagement, perhaps that you're part of a conversation and you can actually maybe ask questions. I'm not sure if people can, but perhaps I assume that you can be part of the conversation, but usually it's very distant and not accessible for you. So that's, I think, a very strong USP and strong commitment to do such long streams as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Big respect for that, 100%.
It takes a lot of what's the word? Sustenance, you know, that kind of
energy and everything. It's like it's hard to maintain a conversation for so long.
You have to be quite articulate.
And they got a bunch of guests as well, so I guess it's more like a longer version of a morning show.
Yeah, nice, awesome.
There's every time you can go, oh, interesting. Yeah. You got to the 8th one, oh, interesting. You're like, yeah, shit.
So sometimes I just listen to my own recordings and I realize that that's exactly what I'm doing.
I do it too. I do it on stage sometimes because often I'm just concentrating on what they're saying.
Yeah.
To make sure I don't ask the same question in the way.
I love it. Guys, so I have a few more questions for you. So one of them is to, again, a bit of the stereotypes and stigmas. You already mentioned, Cate, that for you coming to such conferences is a very good way also to catch up with PR firms. But sometimes I've noticed that we have a bit misunderstanding what are the differentiation and the roles of PR companies and journalists, and does really every company need the PR firm, or they should go straight to a journalist? How do you prefer, and what's your connection with PR?
I'd say both. I mean, I would say to all startups, whatever stage you're at, if you're contacting journalists, you can just contact them. You don't have to go through VR. You don't have to pay someone to do it. Like, you can literally send us a message, whether it's an email or it's at LinkedIn. They're probably the best ways to do it for most people, I would say. But just be clear on why you're contacting. Because sometimes you get, I still get people contacting me that are just like, oh, can I send you an email? And you're a bit like, well, you just did. And that's number 160 out of 150. The other 159 I have to answer, and now I have to go back and forth with you. It's a bit more work. Anyone can contact us. I mean, I think the thing I would say is I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding from some startups, not everybody, of course, what the difference is between PR and journalism.
Yeah.
As Andrii said, we're not there. We don't work for you. We're not there to copy and paste your press release verbatim. We are able to put in our own opinions if we want, this is what we work for. We have a legacy knowledge that might be different to yours because we look at different things perhaps. So it's not just, we're not there to work for you and to just follow a script. Yeah.
Bingo. Andrii, anything to add?
No, I think it's really it really doesn't matter all that much to me, whether it's a PR person, for example, coming in contact or founder directly. But in the course of my sort of freelance journey after being laid off from the Next Web, so for this year, I did help a few startups, just explain to them how this whole thing works and so on. And I just realized that I never understood enough how many things that I find just common sense in terms of how to contact journalists, what kind of story is actually interesting, is actually not common sense at all for someone who does not have any experience in this. If you've never even thought about pitching a story, for example, or contacting journalists, you wouldn't even understand where to start from. So this is, I think, something that a good probably PR firm would actually be able to help with.
All right, so that's where we step in basically. So you're open for both working and collaboration and very open-minded. All right, we're getting closer to the end. I have one more question before the final traditional question. So you received many emails, and I don't know if you have noticed. I'm pretty sure you did. People doing such a bad job with ChatGPT and the titles that for me, even myself, when I get the pitch for, I'm sorry, it's not good to laugh, but it's just, you just start seeing those patterns where even nobody did any edits for the ChatGPT proposed title, all the capitals and those cliche words, sophisticated, and immediately for me it's a turn off to read the email. I still try to see, but then I don't usually consider seriously as I would have considered by true email and regular human language. What would be your take? Yeah, you notice that, right? It's super easy most of the
extremely
time.
obvious. And look, it's not just the M-dash. I use M-dash. It doesn't matter. Stop whinging.
Can we just stop all this M-dash nonsense?
And I think what it does.
I think someone gave the OpenAI feedback about the M-dash. Don't do it.
Oh yeah, I should have done that when I interviewed them too. Yeah, I think the problem is it sets up this idea about how you're meant to sound as a founder. People think that they have to sound like a quote. And a sanitized quote that's been running through it, agentic AI or whatever. So what it means is that when you interview them, you sometimes get feedback. Oh, well, that's not what I said. And you're like, well, yeah, it is. Because it's not how they wanted to sound, but that's what you said. So sometimes it's about, you don't have to sound perfect. You're allowed to be vulnerable. You're allowed to say, you're allowed to be human, because people want human interest stories. They don't want to hear from a robot who's run everything through a machine so that they sound, or LLM, using LLMs so that they sound like slick. People don't care about that. They want to hear about you, as founders. That's what's exciting to people.
100%.
Yeah, I said this same thing a few months ago as well, like at a different event, when I asked like what founders should think about. I was like, don't take media training that seriously, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
It can be important, but like not for you, not at this point. Yeah. Just be humans.
People, right?
Yes, we're all human.
But yeah, with emails, like I'm the same. Like I most of emails I just don't even read, don't even open.
Because I do put the effort. Obviously, I don't get as many emails as you do, guys. But I feel like it's if someone put in effort to send it, and and you work with publications and such a kind of putting the stories out there one way or another. It's a respect to open and to see, but then if there is no respect, writing it down, doing the homework, at least I know that a lot of times someone reaches out to you and you even don't write about that industry, for example. I know many people experience that. Anyway, okay, so we've got your answer, great. So dear founders who are here with us, remember, be authentic. Do your own pitch.
But honestly, emails is one thing, but like, have you seen how many ChatGPT generated comments on LinkedIn?
Oh yes.
Oh my God.
Did you notice that?
Yes.
They're obvious and they're terrible, guys.
I mean,
what is going on?
I've got some recently.
I've had some, and I'm just like, what are you talking? I don't know if I can't manually delete them.
Oh my God.
Like, I want to write to delete them.
I'm leaving it. To be honest, I'm having a good fun. So I had one of the comments about Slush, and someone wrote me, "Oh yeah, we had such a great time last year. It was so crazy when I was late for my keynote on stage," or something like that. And I'm like, well, AI got it wrong this time. I'm sorry, but I want real people. I don't want. Anyway, it's funny. So guys, I have a tradition in my podcast to leave listeners with a thought to ponder after they just finished listening to our conversation. Yeah. So what would be your thought to ponder for everyone who is here with us today and getting inspired about the media landscape?
Oh, that's tricky.
Oof, I know.
I would think about what are some stories you know in your sector, maybe in your startup, or maybe it's, the broader sector you're in, that aren't being told. That you're saying, well, why is no one talking about this? And tell them to us. And we will help you tell them through our publications, Okay. Because that's what we do. We want stories.
All right.
Yeah, I will probably go in a totally different direction. Just, there is this cliche phrase of you are what you eat. But in this case, you are in many ways the media you consume. So just perhaps it would be a good thing to try and think about.
Wow, guys, we're ending here with a very two deep notes and insights. So yeah, I guess we will leave you with it, dear listeners, and think what you consume and tell your authentic stories. I hope you got inspired with me. I had Cate and Andrii covering the media landscape and what's happening, bringing some juices and great insights and good laugh for sure. Thank you everyone tuning in with us today. Whoa, that was a long day. And have a great day wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Julia.
Oh,
Nice one.
You're nice. Oh my goodness.
You make it very easy.